Corey, Coco Gauff. I was called by my ex-wife. She told me I needed to come and look at this girl. She's a very talented tennis player. So I asked her how old the girl was, and she said the girl was 6 years old, wasn't 7 yet. And I was like thinking, six, that's a little early for me to move from one city to go see another girl in another city. Usually they come to see me. But I chose to get in contact with the father, and he told me he wanted me to take a look at his daughter. And it was a conversation for like about 2 weeks between me and him, trying to get me to go there, or him come drive 3 hours to come and see me. I ended up drove 3 hours from Tampa to Boca Raton to go meet Corey, that's the father, the daughter, and Coco. And I remember she was 6, she wasn't 7 yet. She was very close to being 7. And I took a look at her. Wasn't nothing special. I've seen a lot of 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds, but she wasn't special then. But she had something that I like. She listens very well. She always look at me when I'm talking to her. I love that, for the kids. And we hit for a little bit. It was nothing special. What she does, she was a good athlete. She can tell she's going to be big. I look at the dad and the mom, and both of them, look very athletic. So I'm like thinking, okay, that's one positive right there. She had a very small racket. Usually if the kid's racket is too small, I don't want to start teaching. I wait for them to use a regular size racket first. So I remember it was a pink racket too. So I hit with her for maybe 45 minutes or an hour or so. And after the lesson, there was nothing special there. Everything that she had, I would have to do a lot of work to get her going. But I remember I asked the dad, what are you looking for from your daughter? And he said to me, I would love for her to, participate in the Little Mo tournament. And then I asked Corey, the Coco, what do you want to be, little girl? I remember I said that to her, and she said, I want to be the best in the world. I'm like looking at her, and she, honestly, I believed her. She said, I want to be the best in the world at that moment. And I'm looking at her, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. But we finished the conversation there. I told her dad I got to go back to Tampa, Still, I wasn't thinking nothing special about her yet. But all I could think of for the next 1 month was she telling me she wanted to be the best in the world. I remember I was thinking about it for like a whole month. And then I called the father and said, can I take a look at her again? Can I hit with her for 1 more hour? Just try again and see how it goes. And I went back. I drove back to Boca Raton from Tampa to go look at her one more time. And I told her dad, let's do this. Let's try and see if we can, build a tennis player here. My track record over the years is I will take the kids from maybe anywhere from 4 or 5 years old and spend 3-4 years with them and trying to see if I can get them to become a national champion or a world champion. In most cases, if I spend more than 3 years or 4 years, they become very good, national players or world champion. So I told the dad, if he can give me 3 years with Corey, 3 years, I can turn your daughter into one of the best players in the U.S. And he said, are you sure? He said, yes, we can do this, you understand? And he said, okay, give me a couple weeks. And then 2 weeks later, he called me and told me he's on his way to Boca. I'm like, huh? That was quick. He went home to Atlanta, packed his stuff up, put stuff in truck, and said, he called me Buddy. That's why he used to call me. He said, Buddy, I'm on my way down. I'm like, wow, that was a lot quicker, than I thought. I thought it would take him a couple months to get going. Yes, 2 weeks later, the program start. We already start training in Boca Raton at the South County Regional Park. And I remember it was me and her alone on the court. I think she now turned 7. Yeah, she was 7 now. Me and her alone on the court for maybe 4 hours every day, me and Corey. I remember there was nobody else there. There was a mom there sitting on the bench just watch us training, and it was me and Corey for 2 hours in the morning, and then again in the afternoon from 3 to 5, me and her again for 2 hours. So we did this for like about 6 to 8 months. And I said to the dad, I think your daughter's gonna be good. I think we have something special here. And he said to me, okay, just let me know what you need. Anything you need, just let me know. I told him, first, we're gonna change your racket. I needed to have 2 rackets. Next day, there was 2 rackets. Next, I need a hitting partner. Everything I asked for, the dad gave it to me. And he was all in. You know, the mom was in, the dad was in, even the grandma was in. Everybody's in, the whole family's in. So for me now, I know what I had in front of me. I know I had a good athlete in front of me. And everybody's committed to becoming a professional tennis player. And I'm in. I'm already in, you know, first day I'm already in already. So the process started. And I remember, you know, me and her just going at it every day. And it was me and her alone. I just remember this little girl in the middle of the sun hot. She's 7 years old. And it's very hot. And me and her alone out there. And she would just go all day long if I allow her to go all day long. Maybe about 1 year in, I think her first tournament was a little local tournament. And I wasn't too keen on the tournaments because I know what I had in front of me. She was going to be a special tennis player. So the dad wanted to play a tournament. I'm like, oh, it's up to you. You know, I'm not going to the tournaments. I'm not worried about the tournament. I'm worried about making sure she get her training every single day. Okay, so I told the dad, if she goes to a tournament, that's fine, but she needs to turn up every day for her training. You can take her to the tournament, I won't go, but every day, it doesn't matter if tournament or not, she needs to turn up for her training. And the training was, you know, obviously it was the private lesson between me and her. 1 year in, she went to the tournament. I think she won the tournament. It was a local tournament she won. And then I think it was a time now, after a year, it was a time for the Littlemore tournament, the Littlemore International. That's the tournament that the dad wanted her to play. And I'm looking at dad and like, I don't think we need to go to this tournament because she's way up ahead of where we were predicting. In 1 year, she's already way ahead of all the girls. And she went to the tournament, and I didn't think she lost a game in the tournament. She beat everybody 6-0, 6-0 in the tournament. Yes, I think she lost maybe 1 game in the final. And had a very big trophy, and the dad, they had to ship it from New York to Atlanta or New York to Florida because it was too big to go on an airplane. The trophy was like, you know, taller than maybe 6-7 feet tall. And I remember the dad came back and said, "Oh, we won," and I'm like, "Okay, good, you know, leave me alone or let me keep going what we're doing." Yes, and the second, challenge for her was to try and see if she can, play a little higher age group. And she would enter tournaments, local tournaments, and every 3 months or 4 months, she will enter a different age group. And she will, if she loses the first time in a higher age group, the next time she'll win. So for the next 2 years, between age 8 and 10 years old, Corey, she won every single event, age group that she played in. She won in under 10s, under 8s, under 10s, under 12s, under 14, under 16s, and under 18s. This is one of the most unbelievable achievements I've ever seen as a tennis coach. This girl, she's 9 years old. She won 10s, 12, 14, 16, all the age groups she played in. She won in each age group, going upward. She played up and she won. She got a wild card into the national, 12s national. She was 10 years old then. And I remember this was a tournament I wanted, we were getting ready for, you understand, because this would be a good benchmark for me because of my perception of where she should be and where she's at the moment. So I asked the USTA for a wild card for Corey. She got a wild card in the tournament. And she ended up, at that tournament, she ended up becoming the youngest national champion in US history. And that's the tournament that we were keeping a benchmark to see where she's at in her tennis. She broke my oldest daughter's record. My oldest daughter held that record, and she broke that record by 4 or 5 months. And then I told her, Dad, I think we're into something special. So the next challenge was now to see how well she does against the international players her age. So this is where she would enter into the Eddie tournament in Bradenton. That's an international tour where all the kids from all over the world, they'll come together and participate in the Eddie Championship, or the Orange Bowl. And this usually the Orange Bowl. If you win the Orange Bowl, you're the player for your age in the world. And I remember, I think the first year she played Orange Bowl, I think she lost in the semifinal or the final. But it was still very, very good because she's already proven herself. She's one of the best in the world for her age, and maybe the best in the world for her age. Next challenge for the dad, I told him, I think there's a possibility Corey is the best 10-year-old tennis player in the history of tennis. And I've seen the best of them at that moment, 10 years old, whether it's girl or boy. There was no possible way a player would play much better than her or as good as her at that moment because of what she was doing at that point when she was 10 years old. The stuff that she was doing, her technical formation, her mental ability, and her physical ability, she was beyond her age, maybe 4 or 5 years.